The long-awaited Monaco Grand Prix is about to start. David Croft and Martin Brundle will be taking you through the track map and everything else upon the grid. And then it is time for the Monaco Grand Prix to get underway. It is less than 5 minutes.
Hello everybody, it's F1 75 seasons of the Formula One World Championship, and for 70 of those 75 seasons we've been coming down to Monaco for a little afternoon race. And here on this Sunday, stand by for something just a little bit different. Mandatory 2 pit stops to a strategic shake-up and induce some entertainment and excitement into a race where everyone changed their tyres after one lap in a red flag last year. We've got 78 laps to come this afternoon. Elevation changes throughout this lap. Lap record for Lewis Hamilton in a race. Lap record for Lando Norris in qualifying. First lap here under 70 seconds to take pole yesterday. The tyres have gone a step softer than they were in 2024. It's a C6, C5 and a C4 afternoon. Is the hard or the medium the favoured race tyre? And what a glorious afternoon it is too. The harbour is jam-packed. The Mediterranean as calm as you want. Few speedboats making some waves, but who will make waves on the track and win one of the most famous races of them all? From the back, anything can happen really. Ollie Behrman starts last, 10th place penalty for overtaking under a red flag, and the stewards investigating him before the race starts. Lance Stroll starts 19th, he had a penalty too. Then it's the Alpines of Colapinto, slowest in qualifying, and Pierre Gasly for his equal worst start here. Gabriel Bortoleto starts 16th, it was a bad day for Mercedes in qualifying. Kimi Antonelli crashed, he's 15th. George Russell had a breakdown, he's 14th. No Mercedes in the top 10 for the first time in a long while. Nico Hulkenberg starts 13th, Yuki Tsunoda ahead of him, his worst start here since 2021. Then it's Carlos Sainz 11th, and his teammate Alex Albon, who could have been 6th if he'd have repeated his Q2 time in Q3. He didn't, he's 10th. Liam Lawson starts 9th, his first time in Q3 this season. Esteban Ocon starts 8th, he was 3rd on the grid once upon a time here. Lewis Hamilton with a 3-place grid penalty starts 7th. Fernando Alonso is 6th, his highest start of the season, and his best ever career start. Isaac Hadjar is now 5th. Max Verstappen starts 4th. The 4th time he started 4th in Monaco. It's the top 4 every race this season for Oscar Piastri. He's 3rd this week. Charles Leclerc 2nd on the grid here for the first time ever. And it's Lando Norris on pole in Monaco for the first time. And there is a sense of excitement around this afternoon, Martin. We have done a lot of races together. We've got a bit of experience, and we really can't predict what's going to happen today.
No, a lot of shrugging of shoulders and people sort of saying we don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy because the mandatory 2 pit stops can interplay with red flags and/or safety cars as well. Starting tyres are important, probably more important than ever. And the top 3, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri on the medium compound tyre. Max Verstappen an outlier then on the harder compound tyre. But remember, all these tyres are towards the soft end of the range we use in any given season. Alonso and Hamilton 2 in 6th and 7th on hard compound. And you've got Lawson in 9th on soft compound. All 3 of the available tyres are represented in the top 9 on the grid. It affects a little bit how you get away. What will hurt those on hard tyres is if there's an early safety car and they have to get rid of them, that then leaves them, certainly people like Verstappen, it's a gamble they're taking. And I also think that somebody like Verstappen, should there be an early safety car, actually won't pit. go stay out to get track position and go long.
Because he's very limited by the tyres he's got left, a medium and a soft for the rest of the race. But if you're going to take a gamble, this is the place to do it. Monaco with a casino at the top that we race up to and then drop back down to the harbour. And there we can see Lando Norris on pole position. It's a short dash to the first corner. We don't often see drivers getting past into turn one. If he holds steady, normally you go on and win the race. But today, the strategic teams are going to be working feverishly and drivers have got to keep a cool, calm head.
So what we're looking out for is, normally you see those in the lead really going really slowly to keep the pack tight so that nobody's to make a quick pit stop and undercut.
There we go, the formation lap gets underway and it is time for the Monaco Grand Prix. This year, 2 mandatory pit stops have been introduced to the Monaco Grand Prix and tyres are more important than ever. There are 1 set of hards, 1 set of mediums and 1 set of softs for the race. Nice on the mediums, Leclerc on the mediums, Piastri on the mediums, Verstappen on the hards, Hadjar on the mediums, Alonso on the hards, Hamilton on the hards, Ocon on the mediums, and Lawson on the soft compound tyre. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Lawson's going to be really quick here. Now, they saved a set of soft compound tyres. McLaren, everybody has 1 set of tyres here now. I've just noticed that my camera isn't actually on here, so I'm going to turn that on. Probably smart to turn on my camera, but this is going to be really exciting. Really, really exciting to see who is going to win this race and who isn't. Who's going to be the one that brings out the calendar? Monaco brings out the safety car. Monaco has featured in the Formula 1 calendar for most years. Of course, the previous winners around here, Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez. Verstappen has won 2, Leclerc has won 1, Hamilton has won 1, and Perez has won 1. So there's plenty of them. This weekend it could be a championship game changer. Piastri leads by 13 points. McLaren are not locking out the front row this weekend. Piastri starts P4 on the grid. Norris starts P1. Leclerc starts P2. Verstappen starts P3. This is going to be important. This is going to be an interesting run into turn 1. Verstappen on the less grippier tyre than what Leclerc and Norris are. They are on the medium compound tyre. This is going to be good. Nice lines up on the grid. He looks to his right-hand side and he sees Charles Leclerc. It is nearly time for the lights to go out and for us to go racing here at Monaco. It's going to be a long 2 hours of racing. This is going to be good. It's going to be the dash to turn 1 as Ollie Behrman files himself away to the grid. This is going to be good. Leclerc, nice on the left-hand side. Leclerc on the right-hand side as Ollie Behrman puts a bit of heat into his rear tyres. Into the rear medium compound tyres. Those are going to be important. Tyres are important. The green flag waves at the back of the grid, and there's 3, 4, 5 lights, and it's lights out and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix, and it's an amazing start for Lando Norris as they run side by side, and Lando Norris locks up into turn number 1. He doesn't go on, but Leclerc does keep it stable, and he will most likely lead up into turn number 1. He doesn't. Norris leads up into turn number 1. Leclerc looked down the inside. It didn't end up happening. Norris with a big lock-up. Is there going to be a mark on that tyre? Quite possibly. Cold tyres for Lando Norris and a lock-up into turn 1. He doesn't go on, but it's really tight between some of the Williams cars at the back there as they head into the hairpin. Who's brave enough to make a move? Nobody. As it's a pile-up back to the kick Sauber. Who is that? That Gabriele Portoletto around the outside of Kimi Antonelli. Ollie Behrman getting up in the curb. Ollie Behrman up on the curb in the hairpin. Kimi Antonelli around the outside and kicks out with the fence. That is Antonelli put Gabriele Portoletto in the fence at the chicane. Big moment, and it's going to be a VSC or maybe even a safety car. Wow. Portoletto in the fence, and it's from Antonelli. Oscar Piastri in P3, but there's a green flag. We seem to be all good. Lando Norris leads this race over Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar, Alonso, Hamilton, Ocon, Lawson and Albon. Lawson on those soft compound tyres has not been able to make any moves. But it's a beautiful start and Norris has pulled away, just like he did in Imola. It's a good start so far. Norris leads as Tsunoda comes into the pit lane. VSC, virtual safety car, Ollie Behrman in. People are already taking new tyres. Already in this race. Taking their one of two compulsory pit stops here. Now, there's going to maybe be a bit of suspension damage to Bortoletto's car. There's a problem here with the Haas, and it's the left front for Ollie Behrman. The left front has got a big problem, and so has the right front. Big problem. And they've had to retake that pit stop. Let's take a look at here what happened. So Antonelli up the inside, and it's just forced... left him no room there on the outside, and he was just forced... He had nowhere else to go but the barrier on the left-hand side. He went right around the outside, and look at Yuki Tsunoda, who went around the outside of Antonelli. Now, I think that was Antonelli. I don't know. I mean, he tried to go around the outside and forced him in. Kimi pushed me out. So that's... There might be a little bit of suspension damage to that car, but you never know. Virtual safety car around Monaco. And it was an opportunity to take one of two stops, and they've taken that opportunity already. It was an opportunity, and it was taken quite early here for people like Tsunoda, Gasly, Behrman, and Bortoletto under this virtual safety car. That opportunity was taken, that margin from Stroll to Yuki Tsunoda, 5.4 seconds there. So Tsunoda's going to probably... Bortoletto, you can see already that it's 60 seconds back to Bortoletto. So opening... It was the opening lap drama that I sort of expected. We all sort of expected the opening lap drama. it was all to be expected. Every part of it was to be expected here. Now, I'm going to guess there's going to be about an hour and 40 minutes of racing here for these drivers. But Lando Norris leads here as he heads through the hairpin. We're on the virtual safety car, lap 3 of 78 around Monaco. Good start from Norris. He practically sent it offline, and the lock up into turn 1 was unexpected. Really was unexpected. So you can see they're going to fix that turn 8 barrier because it is pushed in a little bit. So this might pull a safety. If there's a safety car, expect none of the top. I wouldn't say that Norris or Leclerc boxes. To be honest, I wouldn't say that they box. Is it worth it boxing on the medium compound tyres? I mean, we've seen Gasly and Behrman do it, but I mean, it's Gasly, Tsunoda, Behrman did it, but you know, I don't know. Is it really worth it? Lando has not taken his 2 stops. He hasn't taken his 2 compulsory pit stops yet, so it's tight. There is a full safety car here, but they're running around on a virtual safety car at the moment. I mean, is it? I don't know. If there's a full safety car, is it worth it? Let's have the race start here. Now, this was it was very much audacious. You can see Lando. Leclerc actually got a mega start over Lando, and he got to go cover and locked up the right front tyre and nearly went off in the skate road, which would have changed this whole entire race, and Leclerc would have been leading as he went up the hill. But it ended up just being that, that's both left front and right front. The front 2 tyres locked up as he went into turn 1. Oscar, let's see what Oscar's start was like. From Oscar's POV. Yeah, that's a big lock up there from Lando. I'm not going to be surprised if there's any marks on that tyre. There's most likely will be. This is what happened this is Antonelli's point of view. This is what happened to Gabriel Bortoletto. And this is crisscross down the inside and left in no room on the outside there. So that's Kimi Antonelli. point of view. We saw Bortoleso's point of view, but I don't know. That's going to be close. That's going to be close. Leclerc, wow, 2.94 in 0 to 100 in 2.94 seconds. That's crazy. We go back to green flag racing here around Monaco. So VSC done, lap 4 of 78, and the virtual safety car ending. Here, of course, no overlapping until the timing line. Very, very important. And make sure you stay under that delta time that you've been given. But it's a good start under, as we go back to green flag racing after the VSC. Good start. Lando Norris leads up the hill. So we're back on the green flag racing here at Monaco, and Leclerc just chasing down as he heads into the casino area and into the hairpin now for Lando Norris. Lead once again. Now that margin, 22.4 seconds from Lando Norris to Yuki Tsunoda. Why that's important is because of the pit stop. It's around, I'm going to say it's about 15 seconds to transit the pit lane. It's not like what it was in Imola when it was nearly 30 seconds. So McLaren sort of have to play their strategy card right here, because if they don't, it might change. Now, as I say, average time loss through the pit lane, 15 to 19 seconds, depending on your pit stop, plus about 2 seconds to change wheels and tyres. To change tyres. So it's around about 19 seconds. Which is, it's a little bit tough. But most people out there on the hard compound tyres, I'm going to guess you're going to go around about, it's going to be tight, because you're going to want to fit in 2 stops here. So Lando Norris fastest lap of the race on that lap in 78 seconds, 18.05. That margin, 1.4 seconds from Norris to Leclerc on lap 6 of this race. Lando, he's currently heading into turn 6 at the moment. He's currently heading through the hairpin. It's 23 seconds. It's 18 seconds to transit the pit lane and put tyres onto the car. So it's close, but it's 23 seconds that margin at the moment. So that's really important for those people that have taken that stop. Gasly has been hurt by the VSC. He's had to go to the medium compound tyres, and he will probably be, he's going to have to go nearly 30 laps on the medium tyres here, if anything. But it's how you play the strategy here. You know, do one stop, and then you've got to do another one at some point in the race. So it's not just the one stop. You can't go 40 laps on the hard compound tyres, and you can't go 25 and then 25. Well, you can do that. So you can go 25 laps on the medium compound tyres, 25 laps again, and then go softs, but you'd be asking a lot of the soft rubber, and you'd probably get a puncture by the end of the race. So it's how you play that strategy. You've got a limited amount of tyres. Tyres are really, really important, and how you use that rubber is important as well. Lewis heading into Casino Square at the moment, and closing up to the hairpin. He's actually closing up to the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso up in P6. Here now, Ferrari have had a lot of pace, but I don't think they've really had enough to fight McLaren this weekend as Hamilton heads through turn 8 and hits the tunnel. But I don't think they've had pace to be able to run with McLaren. You can see Norris pulling away 1.7 seconds that margin, and he's actually pulling further than what you'd think there. Lewis Hamilton chasing Alonso for P6 at the moment. 1.7 seconds margin, nice, to Leclerc. And then it's whopping 6 seconds. It's nearly a whopping 5 seconds. So Leclerc's got more pace at this point in time. It's a whopping 3.3 seconds back to Piastri. Now, I saw that, and that was nearly 6 seconds. That's 6 seconds to the leader, and then in the interval, it's about 4.4 to Leclerc. So it's tight. But 1.7 from Norris to Leclerc here. This is Kimi Antonelli. He's down in P14 at the moment. He's chasing his teammate down in P13. Chasing Russell down. Probably they're going to be working together, if anything, here, the two Mercs, and trying just to grab Hulkenberg bit by bit. But that margin, 1 second. So Mercedes struggling for a bit of pace here. Kimi seems to have a bit more pace than what Russell does here. So it might be a strategic play to let Kimi jump by and see what he can do. But through the slower speed corners, the Merc is catching. Definitely. The Williams not also seem to have much pace here because Nico Hulkenberg is right over the back of Carlos Sainz here. That margin is 0.2, so it's closing just ever so slightly. Now there's a yellow flag here through sector 1. This is a problem. Now there's definitely a problem because Yuki Tsunoda's dropped quite the margin actually. So it's one of the Hasses in the wall. Oh, big damage to the Alpine in the fence, and it's scraping that left front wheel around with no suspension. Wow, that is big damage, and he's gonna have to stop the car. I got no brake. Yeah, you're gonna have to stop the car if you've got no brakes, and obviously you won't have any brakes because you've got no left front wheel. And there's big suspension damage to that car. Big suspension damage. To the point where you can't stop the car, so that's a problem. Now there's actually a lot of debris down there, so there's probably going to be a VSC once again in this race, and that might screw. Yeah, there's going to be double wave yellows, but that's a VSC surely. I think he's clipped the barrier. He's clipped the barrier there. Now, this is also interesting. Verstappen and Piastri here are mightily close to each other. Now, it's hard to call. Because Verstappen, his grip would be starting to... Yeah, now there might be a VSC here. 19 seconds. Piastri's lost pace here on the medium tyres. He's definitely lost pace. And Pierre Gasly is out of the Monaco Grand Prix with big suspension damage to the left front of that car. No brakes and a lot of axles going to need to be replaced. This is what I thought. Now, Pierre Gasly, as he's come into the hairpin, he's come into the chicane. Oh, he's actually run over. Oh my god. He's run over the top of the Red Bull. That is big. He's run over the top of the Red Bull. So, he had no brakes. That car had a brake failure. Wow. That car had a big brake failure. Now, I won't be surprised if there's any damage to... Oh my god. Pit lane... Oh, pit lane entry is closed. He's an idiot. What is he doing saying Yuki Tsunoda? So, that's probably no brakes. He's had a big brake failure there for Pierre Gasly, it seems. But the pit entry is closed, so that means pit stops will be delayed at this point in time. Now, there's big suspension damage to that car. That car's going to have to be retired, if anything. Yellow flag still, so pit stops will be delayed at this point until race control says so. This is lap 11 of 78, and Max Verstappen chasing down Oscar Piastri at a rate of knots here as he heads through Casino Square and into turn 5, and into turn 5 here. But he just seems to have a bit more pace. He's about 2 tenths faster. Oh, he's about a tenth faster than Piastri a lap. Verstappen over the radio. I should probably have my mute button with me, shouldn't I?
I'd like to see...
Not sure what... actually, to be honest, not sure what he said. But Marshall's were able to clean that up. So, green flag. Marshall's were able to clean it up at the chicane, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing to see. Here, but pit lane entry now open. So, pit stops can be occurred now. So pit lane entry open. Saying race control. So lap 11 of 78. Max Verstappen is currently all over the back of Oscar Piastri. And squabbling a little bit into turn 1. But Leclerc's now dropped that margin. He's 0.8 to novice here, so he's inside DRS, and the margin half a second and closing just bit by bit from Verstappen to Piastri. And Piastri having to push now. Now, was Piastri conserving a bit of his tyres here? Maybe. This is through the yellow flag section for Max Verstappen. Oh! So, Verstappen, he tried to overtake Piastri and covered. He moved as he came out of the chicane. That was smart there from Oscar Piastri. Just to stop any chance of Verstappen getting by. So it shows how serious he is of keeping this position. But again, that margin has pulled out to 1 second. The margin of the championship, if they finish like this, will be 3 points. It will be 3 points if they finish like this at the end of this race. 3 points, which will be a big, big championship implication. If Piastri overtakes Leclerc, it will be 7 points in the World Drivers' Championship. So that's big. So Piastri overtakes Leclerc, it will be 7 points. As race control notes a incident between Tsunoda and Gasly that was at turn 10, where Gasly ripped off his right front tyre.
Respected all the yellows.
We all discussed it, we had noticed that.
So Alonso there saying about yellow flags at some point, and they're noting that at Aston Martin. Hulkenberg into the pit lane, and onto the hard compound tyres. Nicely done from the Kit Sauber team. And he pulls out down in P19 on the hard compound tyres, and he'll probably go the next 40 laps or so, I'm going to say 40 laps or so, and then probably go onto the soft compound tyres at the end of the race, or go back to the medium compound tyres. Because I don't think Kit Sauber used a set of mediums in the race, so in qualifying. So they should be good for Kit Sauber, but for those people that did, are in a bit of hurt, depending, but you never know. Alex Albon chasing down Lawson for P90s on the medium tyres. That VSC helped him for Liam Lawson. He came in. I thought Liam Lawson was on the soft tyres. Oh. Not sure what Lando said there. I'm probably going to have to take off my gloves here because it's actually... There we go. I've got one glove free just to press the unmute button. Just in case there's a radio message here. Colapinto in for the medium compound tyres. Here, those are a set that he used in qualifying. So he's going... I'm guessing he was just on the medium tyres. So he's going medium, hard at the end of the race. Most likely. That's probably the way you're going to play it. But however you play it, you have to do 2 stops. The margin, nice to Leclerc, 1.3 seconds at this very moment in time. And nice, and Leclerc heading through turn 18 and turn 19.
Of course, could use that as well. Hadjar now told to pit.
Hadjar told to pit here on lap 15 off the medium tyres and onto, I'm going to guess, the hard tyres for Isaac Hadjar. Now, I saw he was on the soft tyres. I could be wrong. He's onto the soft compound tyres. This is a bold, risky move for RB. It could put him in a good position. Now, he boxed under the safety. He boxed under the safety car. He boxed under the VSC. And he went on the medium tyres, which was on lap 3. Went onto the mediums for 12 laps and then came back out and onto the soft tyres. He's only dropped a few positions for Isaac Hadjar, which this is a play and a half for Hadjar. Only dropped 3 spots in the process, so that's pretty good from RB, and they seem to play that quite nicely. Oscar Piastri. Oh, I thought my screen glitched then. My screen glitched.
You want me to keep pushing? We let him go.
Plan C, stay with Norris.
Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri has started to pick up.
So there you go. Leclerc has just been told plan B, stay with Norris. So they're not planning on boxing Leclerc anytime soon. It's all about strategy if you're up the front. If you're up the front, you've got to play strategy here. You've got to do whatever the car is doing in front of you. It's 2 seconds from Norris to Leclerc. We're 16 laps into the Monaco Grand Prix. .4 that margin. Hadjar onto the soft compound tyres. It's a bold move, more or less, but you got to play bold around here. There's a bit of battling going on between the Williams, the two Mercedes, Stroll and Tsunoda. Now Tsunoda's on new hard tyres. He will probably want to try and get past this little barrel pack. Hadjar's just gone on to 4-lap old softs. Those softs, let me tell you this much, will probably only last for the next 10 or so laps. So Hadjar trying to save the best tyres for the end of the race. He's done his 2 compulsory pit stops. He could play strategy here. He could play strategy, and to be honest, if you really want to, go to the softs to the end, but the softs can't do that, and you get a puncture by the end of the race. Fernando Alonso into the pits and off the hards onto the... was he on hards or was he on mediums? I'm not completely sure. That's Esteban Ocon off the mediums onto another set of mediums from qualifying. So they're going medium, hard. And RB, that is the RB, jumping Fernando Alonso. So up into P6. And Fernando has gone on to, I'm guessing, another set of mediums for Fernando Alonso. He's gone on to hards. So off the mediums, onto the hards for Fernando Alonso. And Isaac had just jumped in for the undercut. Hamilton. Hamilton saying over the radio, push now, this is our race. So Verstappen, we're predicting he will jump out in front of, well, 2/10. It will be a battle into turn 1 between Verstappen and Hadjar at this point if he boxes now. Because it's around about 18 seconds to drench at the pit lane. It's about 21 seconds. Verstappen's going to jump Hadjar at this point. Verstappen's going to jump Hadjar if he boxes now. Lawson is in P9 at the moment. He's on 16 lap old mediums. So he used them in qualifying, the mediums that he's on. I'm going to guess he's going to be boxing sooner rather than later. Alonso. So Alonso's saying, team telling him to push now, but he's saying, I can't push. So does he have is that a pace thing or what? I'm not sure if that's a pace thing. But yeah, to say I can't push is almost weird. Leclerc fastest the first sector, 19.559. Stroll and Behrman are in. Into the box. Behrman also in. 2.5. Good stop there from Aston Martin. And Behrman 3.2. So we had a bit of a slow stop there for Ollie Behrman. But apart from that, they're P18 and P19. So you can only move up from there. And onto brand new tyres for the Haas.
As Lewis Hamilton is told to come in and box. So
Hamilton coming in boxing on this lap. Is that a set of hard compound tyres I see? Maybe, maybe not. I'll just keep an eye on that. Is that set of hards? That is another set of hards for Lewis Hamilton. So he's playing the long game for Lewis Hamilton, and he'll probably go another 20 laps on those hards, if anything. 2.1, so that's a quick pit stop there from Lewis Hamilton, and that will only lose him. It will jump Hadjar by quite the margin as he head into turn 1. That's around 3 seconds. Now, at this point now, Red Bull will be thinking, do we box? Do we box and stop the undercut from Hamilton? Because, well, you don't want Hamilton jumping you because you're fighting Piastri. It's sort of forcing Verstappen to box. Now, is this Piastri being set up for? Is this Piastri? This is Norris. Norris is boxing this lap. Norris has been told to box on this lap. The margin 3.6. They're stopping the undercut from Lewis Hamilton. Smart manoeuvre from McLaren. They're onto the hard tyres. And that is medium hard. They will be going probably 20, 25 laps on these tyres. And then going on to another set of mediums. Maybe. But they're stopping the undercut from Lewis Hamilton happening. Now, that margin was big enough. But Leclerc, new race leader here in Monaco. After nice stops, plenty margin, nice leads. Hadjar in the box on this lap. So they're playing a real aggressive strategy here from Isaac Hadjar. And is this worth it? They just finished the stint on the hards. They're going back onto the... Just finished the stint on the softs. Back onto the hard tyres. And that is their third stop for Isaac Hadjar. I think. I'm guessing. That seems to be their third stop. Hadjar in. And only down into P8. So... Another set of hards, probably go another 20 laps, maybe. You'd guess. Hadjar has done his 2 stops now. So Hadjar, good for the rest of the race. Probably another 30 laps on those hards now.
Box to overtake Leclerc.
And Lawson holding people up enough for
Piastri in, and he is on to the hard tyres. Big. Car is released. Good pit stop there from McLaren. 3.8, a bit of a slow stop compared to what Norris did. So they're stopping the undercut from Norris. Norris still ended up undercutting him. But this is to stop Hamilton. He got a few lap undercut, but it was plenty. It was plenty for Oscar Piastri. He's come out in P2. Now, it forces Leclerc to box at some point.
Good pace on the outlap, we're trying to undercut. Yes, indeed. Needs good pace on the outlap, because that's to say, only that the win.
Leclerc... By the way that the radio is going, Ferrari need to respond. That's Oscar's first stop. Oscar's first stop done. I'm not sure what actually happened there. Pit stop was a little bit slow for McLaren. But Ferrari need to respond here to stop the undercut if they want to try and lead this race. They sort of need to respond. I don't know what they're doing down there at Ferrari. They need to respond. Isaac Hadjar's the only one who's done 2 stops, and Ollie Behrman. So, the only 2 people out there that have finished their 2 compulsory pit stops. But I don't know what they're doing. That's really, really strange. But the margin. Leclerc, the margin that they're focusing on is Oscar Piastri. The margin, 24 seconds. It's around about... It's 16 seconds. From Charles to Norris. And they're trying to... It's around about 19 seconds. They've got a 3-second undercut on them. Leclerc needs to push. They should have boxed last lap. They should have. They really... I don't know. They should have boxed when McLaren boxed to stop the undercut. I mean, you think about it, you got to box at that point. Or... Because... There you go, Leclerc.
They decided to bring him in.
There you go. That's what I was speaking about. Because you're going to get too hurt by the undercut. You want to just stay as close to McLaren's as possible. Because you're the only ones, really, that you can fight the McLarens. And you get that opportunity and you need to take it. 4.1 after the pit stop. Leclerc will lead. If Leclerc pits now, the predicted gap is 4 seconds to Piastri. So Norris will jump. But they're getting the undercut on Piastri to stop the McLarens running away here. This is a move. Verstappen is fighting Hamilton and Piastri. So Verstappen needs to focus on them. But it's getting close. Out of the pit lane. Oh, Norris jumped in. Where's Piastri? He's heading down the front straight now. He's heading down the front straight and closing up into turn 1. There you go. So, Piastri, that undercut wasn't big enough. And the hards weren't fully turned on. So, that's quite smart there. So, in a way, if they'd left that another 4 laps, Piastri would have jumped in. So, they're covering off. They were covering off... they covered off that gap quite nicely. But there you go. First stop's done. Only Verstappen is to box out of the top 5 runners. Esteban Ocon on screen at the moment. He's heading through Casino Square and actually trying to catch the Aston Martin up in front of him. Here, but yeah, this race is definitely turning out to be very spicy here early on in this race. 24 laps gone. Verstappen leads over Lando Norris as we're the halfway mark of this race, probably around lap 44. So that 44 will be probably the halfway mark of this race, lap 42 to 44. Piastri over the radio.
Does that didn't work very well? So plan is keep the safety car gap on Hamilton. Go with Leclerc. Yeah.
Leclerc is the car ahead.
So plan is stay in safety car each. They're hoping there at McLaren for a safety car. If there isn't a safety car, then I don't know. Again, McLaren, I don't know. It's 50-50 to that strategy there. But at this point, it's interesting. But yeah, so 16, 18. Verstappen's probably going to jump. Oh, it's close. It's close. He's going to jump probably behind Piastri, but it'll be about a second. So they're going to actually overcut Hamilton at this point in time. They're going to overcut Hamilton. Now, Verstappen's actually going to end up lapping Behrman here. So when Verstappen boxes, which of course he hasn't boxed, neither Lawson, Albon, Sainz, Russell, or Antonelli have boxed, and those are all people that are on hard compound tyres. And they'll be running till about lap 30, lap 32, unless they change the strategy here. Now, you're going to be probably wanting to run a bit longer on the hard tyres, and then probably don't want to go. I don't think Red Bull used a set of mediums, though, in the qualifying session. They have an extra set, hard, medium, probably, for Red Bull, and maybe just soft. But it's going to be tight on pit exit here between Verstappen and Piastri. It's 18 seconds to transit the pit lane, and at the moment, Piastri is on for the undercut. And they saw that on the timing screens. They know down there at Red Bull that they have to start setting up here for Max Verstappen because they're being hurt by the undercut from Piastri because his tyres have gripped up, and it's hurting them. Verstappen might box within the next 2 laps. Might, at this point, might box within the next 2 laps. Verstappen leads this race over Lando Norris. Let's head up to the Sky commentary box for probably the next 5 laps.
That's what happens when you go these regulations. We discussed it. It's interesting, exciting that people stopped on that one, but you get 2 cars qualifying together. That team has to, given how close the championship is, play the team game.
James, thanks ever so much. We'll be back with you in a little while. That explains then why we're not seeing movement from Williams and probably not from Mercedes as well. Even the likes of Ollie Behrman, who's stopped twice, now getting onto the back of that train and everyone gets slowed down as a result. Now this is very, very tight, isn't it? The predicted gap, Verstappen may be ahead of Piastri as and when they pit. Piastri has got to start banging in some quicker lap times here.
He has, and he is doing so. But 14.9 is the match 15 last time round. And
Yeah, it was just given a target of 19 and 0. So he's going to start backing it up now, I suspect.
There's your team going. There's your team going, isn't it?
yeah, no, you need a calendar to time that, not a sort of
You can see George Russell's frustrations there, but I think Williams is starting to play at that same team game. We've seen it in the past here before. We've seen it Kevin Magnussen around Nico Hulkenberg to get a point in Jeddah last season as well.
yeah, I'm not liking it.
The team game.
No, these regulations, I'm not liking it.
Well, you had such high hopes for them as well.
We did. Well, let's give it time, but I don't want to see drivers all the way through the field playing a game. I mean, this is about excellence. This is about the highest point of motorsport, and I don't like to see so many drivers going slowly.
Well, I'm with you on that one. Monaco has its usual challenges. Cars wide, streets narrow, tyres need managing as well. You need patience, but you need to try and force things to happen. You've got to try something, and once again, have the engineers found a way to engineer the fun out of the race.
Yeah, I wonder if they should have said you must take one stop in the first half of the race or first third of the race. But we'll see how it all pans out a little bit later on. A long way to go. We're not even half distance yet, so a lot to play out yet as we watch the fact that Colin Pinto in the pits and Bortoletto gets out in front of him. And Ted has further news.
So that's Bortoletto to the end. He's made 2. Colin Pinto has also made 2. Hasn't he, Crofty?
Yes, he has.
I think he has, according to my notes. I'm quite liking it because it's just random. Beware the helpful or unhelpful teammate, though, Martin. There is an element of skullduggery to it. I've got to tell you, Max Verstappen's going quite slowly at the moment. He's got to pit now, otherwise he can be behind Hamilton. So he's got the pit gap to Hamilton at the moment, but he won't have for long because Hamilton's quite rapid behind him.
Always looking good for Max Verstappen. About a lap and a half ago, but you're right, the lap times have now slowed down, and he's also coming to the back of the train that has signs down to Hulkenberg, so that will slow him down even further. And out come the Red Bull crew into the pit lane. Max Verstappen is going to be pitting as he makes his way around Raskas.
No brain, he's got a pit. He doesn't want to catch that little lot up, does he, surely? Yes, there he is.
There he comes. Tsunoda carried on. Verstappen comes into the pits now in the shade, nice and cool for the cruise, and a very slick stop. There goes Lando Norris, 2.3 seconds for Max Verstappen. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Next car is Gabriel Bortoletto, being lapped by Oscar Piastri. Piastri is still then ahead in this race of Max Verstappen. And just staying out for a couple of laps longer has put Max Verstappen back behind Piastri again.
Verstappen on the medium compact size, they have been graining up a little bit as well, but the track will rubber in and they're using up some of their fuel load. But I think they've not got the optimum Red Bull today tyre availability unless something bizarre happens in the last few laps and those used soft tyres he would have to put on. So he can have a new set of soft tyres, Max Verstappen.
Here goes Ollie Behrman down the inside, back in here with Lance Stroll, and Lance Stroll was not about to let the Haas car pass, and both of them.
Definitely not about to let the Haas car pass there. Is Ollie Behrman. I have physically returned. Here, lap 29 of 78. Verstappen Ocon now comes in for his second stop and comes out in P10. Now there's still people that haven't boxed, which are the 2 Mercedes. They are surprisingly quick at the back end of their stints here on the hard tyres. They could be in a good position. They probably could finish actually inside the points here. They're on the hard tyres, and they're going to be running long, the 2 Mercs. They are the only ones out there, except Carlos Sainz, that haven't boxed.
Race leader is stuck right in the middle of all this. You can see Lance Stroll and you can see Ollie Behrman, you can see the papaya with the Riviera livery of Norris in the middle of it. And what? So
Norris is currently being held up by some traffic at this point by Colapinto Bortoletto. He was able to get past there, so seeing that the Popeye McLaren was behind him and he let him by, but Aston Martin and Ollie Behrman having a bit of a battle there for minor positions at this point. But the field is already so... Oh! Ollie Behrman had a big clobber over the curb. There's going to be some floor damage, quite possibly for Ollie Behrman. Big clobber over the chicane curb in the Haas of Ollie Behrman. Now, there's a Ferrari behind him who's going to let by as he heads into turn 1. Good job there from Ollie to let him by. But look at this over the curb, see it for Ollie Behrman, using every bit of road trying to keep up with the Aston Martin, and slid sideways over the curb. Almost did a Lewis Hamilton. Oh, sorry, almost did a Lewis as he went over the curbs, like he did in FP2, I think it was. It was FP2. He did that, Lewis Hamilton. So yeah, that's quite insane. Indeed insane. Lando Norris still leads this race. There's 47 laps to go, and we're 31 laps in. So that's telling you something. So blue flags are now being waved at all these lapped cars here. Now, this is hurting so much. This is hurting Merc so much that they're actually being lapped at this point in time. They're going to be lapped by the Papaya McLaren of Lando Norris, who's just let him by. So Antonelli and Russell are about to be lapped, and so is Carlos Sainz. They're lapping everybody, the Papaya McLarens of Lando Norris. So now running lap down from about P11 to P19 in this race. Leclerc.
So there's another one complaining about the blue flags.
Leclerc complaining there about the blue flags through turn 18 and turn 19. So many cars being lapped in this race, and some McLaren fans up at the McLaren bunkers watching on. That is, yeah, there's a lot of traffic. There is definitely a lot of traffic in this race, but there's still a few people that need a box, and you probably need a box sooner or rather than later. People that have a box: Lawson, Albon, Sainz, Russell, Antonelli. People that have done 2 stops: Hadjar, Ocon, Behrman, Bortoleto, Colapinto. 1 stoppers: Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and Lance Stroll. So those people haven't boxed. As I say that, Liam Lawson comes in for his first stop of the day for him, and he's done that on lap 32, and he's off the hard tyres and possibly onto the medium compound tyres for Liam Lawson. So good stint on the hard tyres there. That is Pierre Gasly, who is the only retirement in this race, watching on. 45 laps to go. Of course, Pierre Gasly retired around about 15 laps ago.
November 1972.
Verstappen saying, my shifts feel like Monaco in 1972. So, he's currently P4 at the moment on the medium tyres, and he'll be running until about lap 52 on those tyres, and then on for his second stop, maybe. Well, definitely. Albon
Coming into the pits, and will hope to jump a few cars when he gets out of his stop.
So Albon hoping that he will jump a few cars. Of course, Verstappen boxed. He's now down in P4. Albon in the pit. Albon in the pits. He's P dropping at the moment. And he's onto the medium compound tyres. So off mediums, onto mediums for Alex Albon. And it's now going to be hoping that he can jump a few people. As he's just been overtaken by Lawson, it's going to be a bit of a run as they head into, up the hill. And the Ferrari of Leclerc, let's get off the road. Let's get to the outside of the road to let Leclerc through. There, and he has. So, top 10 down, P10 down to P20 are lapped. And Gasly lapped by about 15 laps now, so he's out of this race. But Colapinto up to Albon all have been lapped by the Papaya McLarens. So George Russell still hasn't boxed, heading on to lap 34. So playing a real long stint on these hard compound tyres, and of course got to do 2 compulsory pit stops for George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. It's important that happens there, but yeah, this is the utmost importance here as Lando Norris heads through, and Max Verstappen now passing what is Albon, and then the 2 Mercs behind him as well. So it's still surprising how the 2 Merc cars are still out in this race. Well, how they actually still running on those hard tyres, and how they don't actually feel like dookie poo right now. But yeah, it's surprising. It definitely is how they're still running around out there on the hard tyres, and still how they haven't boxed at this point in the race. Very, very surprising indeed. But of course, this race will continue to run with 43 laps to go in this race. Not much happening at the moment, with about 43 laps to go, but the two Mercs still yet to box in this one. Mostly everybody has boxed. Remember that margin between Nice and Leclerc, 6.6 seconds, both on the hard tyres. And Nice seems to be in a pretty good position at the moment in this race. And people probably won't be thinking about boxing for the next 7 or 8 laps. Those people that are Zidane, the FIFA World Cup winner, watching Formula 1 race. That's quite cool. Liam Lawson down in P9 on the soft compound tyres. Now, that's it's P9 for Liam Lawson. He's on the soft tyres. There's going to be a point where he's going to come in and probably go into the hard tyres and go to the end of the race. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting indeed. See how he's actually still on the hard tire, on the soft compound tyres, and how he isn't losing much grip there. Lap 36 of 78. There's still 42 laps to go in this one. So still quite a hefty chunk of this race to go to see who will win the Monaco Grand Prix. But that margin, 6 seconds from Nice and Leclerc, it's actually dropped on this lap. So yeah, quite significantly dropped. But the top 10 have all boxed. Hajar Ocon are the only ones that have done 2 stops inside the top 10. But every inside the top 10 have boxed. And the only people that still need to, Sainz, Russell and Antonelli, they still need to take on their first of 2 compulsory pit stops in this race. Let's hand it up to your Sky Sports commentators for a couple laps.
A new front wing, didn't he, as well, from the shot early on. But I think Sainz is having to pack up again to try to ensure Albon gets a point or 2.
Albon has pitted, Sainz hasn't, Russell hasn't, Antonelli hasn't. They're the 3 that haven't been into the pits yet. Karun, to you.
Yeah, just looking at the gaps there properly. Isaac Hajar and Esteban Ocon, you mentioned they've both done their stops. So really the race is for Ocon is against Alonso. At the moment, 15, 16 seconds, it's sort of fluctuating. That's what they're watching. Hajar should be on course for 6th place, so that'll be a great result for him. Not very good for Mercedes.
No, this has been a day to forget so far for Mercedes. It will be a day to remember for Isaac Hajar, the man from Paris, who would be on for his best finish in Formula 1 so far if he can get that 6th place in the race, beating his 7th in Suzuka. Ted, to you.
Right, I've got the line from Mercedes. This is what they're thinking. They're thinking that the only way for them, starting where they were, sort of 14, 15 on the grid, to get into the points was to go long and just see what unfolds. Their logic is that if you're P11 or last, it's the same, you haven't scored any points. So it's irrelevant whether you are 11th or 19th or 20th.
Oh, Ted, just a couple of seconds. Fernando Alonso is pulling out to retire. Look at that. That, as disappointing as that is for Fernando Alonso, he has gone straight to a gap and has got his car out of the way. So we can cover this under yellow flags without the need for a safety car. And that tagline, Ted, of the unluckiest man in Formula One continues, and it continues here in Monaco. Alonso's out of the race.
So I wonder if that was the power unit temperatures that we were afraid of. A lot of people, engineers in pit lane, were afraid of before the race, but we'll hear from them. But yeah, just finish on Mercedes. If they'd stopped earlier, it would have solidified into pretty much the position they are at the moment. And they're just going to see how the team games ahead of them play out. As we see Ferrari making a second stop.
Are they thinking there might be a safety car, but Hamilton's got a free stop behind him anyway. They're wondering if they can grab a bit of safety car there, but Alonso has been so smart in the way he parked the car that that's unlikely to happen, and Mercedes team think exactly the same thing. And Albon then still 2.6 seconds quicker than Sainz. Albon will get another free pit stop, but it didn't make sense on the Mercedes thing to me, because they should have split their strategy. They've done exactly the same thing with both cars, and they're well over a lap behind.
I know, Martin, when you split the strategy, one's going to be right, one's going to be wrong. But on a day like today, aren't you better getting one right than both wrong?
Yeah, because they're...
The gap to Leclerc is 5.0. If we can use some more pace, we should, please.
So Lando, they're saying over the radio, well, the engineer, they're saying, using a bit more pace as that margin, 5 seconds. Now, when Lando takes his pit stop, again, of course, Callum, thank you, 100 subs, indeed, 100 subs, quite cool as well. So 100, also, thank you again, 100 subscribers. So there's going to be, once again, plenty more content on the way. Yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm excited. Plenty more content for 100 subscribers. I'm currently in the process of editing the go-kart video. I was doing that before the stream, so it's going to be out within the next few days, and then there's also a few other videos I'm going to be releasing as well throughout the next couple of days as well. So, yeah. Equal for 100 subs. Quite cool. Lando Norris, he's leading this race at the moment on the hard tyres. 4.7. The margin is dropping, and it's dropping rapidly. Now, I reported last time it was 6.7. It's now 4.4, and it's dropping rapidly. He actually took 4/10 out of him on this lap. Is there a problem with Lando Norris's car? Maybe he took 4/10 out of him. He's taken 4/10. Wow, that's really shocking. Fernando Alonso retiring his car. He's out of the race. Is he losing time to traffic? I'm going to guess it's traffic because, I don't know. He's losing a huge chunk of time at this point in the race. And to be losing that much time is almost absurd. Yeah, it's weird. But you can see the Mercedes getting ready to take their first pit stop for both Mercs. Their P11 and P12 still haven't taken their pit stop, and they've been on those tyres for only 37 laps, and they've got to be feeling like junk at the moment. That margin, when I can report it to you, is now. I'm waiting for the timing screen to re-pop up, and it just has, but the gaps haven't shown up. Now, 3 people still have to box in this race. Fernando Alonso out of this race. Albon being told to box. There you go. Albon boxing for his final stop of the final compulsory stop of the race. And once you've done that, you can do as many pit stops as you possibly want. There, now Albon boxed on roundabout lap. I'm going to say, it was quite a while ago. Lawson in, Albon in. So they will drop down the field a little bit. Off the softs for Lawson and onto the hard tyres, they will feel a little bit better than what they did before. Albon will most likely go to maybe just about the end, probably. Probably through the next, about lap 74. Come in, put on the soft compound tyres to the end, quite possibly for Williams. That might be the way that they play their strategy there. Or the hards go to the end of race for Alex Albon. But it is quite a stretch. It's nearly 30 laps on the hard compound tyres. You'd think maybe, just maybe, you could be able to do that. Lawson inside the points, and so is Isaac Hadra. So it's a good race weekend for RB. Very much a good race weekend for them. And maybe turning around a bit of luck for RB. And Ocon also inside the points as well. So looking good for Haas, on to score 6 points in this race. So they've upped in their point scoring situation here, as one of the Aston Martins, we're the only Aston Martin in this race. That is Stroll going wide at the chicane and into swimming pool for Kimi Antonelli's P12. Are Merck planning on boxing anytime soon? Kimi Antonelli nor George Russell have boxed this time around. They've been on those tyres now for 41 laps, and they have to be hurting. Grip would have to be falling away for both Mercs at this point in time. And it definitely wouldn't be nice, that feeling of grip falling away from you here at this point in the race. So it definitely wouldn't be nice. But Merc were doing a lot of long runs in practice, so I'm guessing they're confident on their tyre wear, and they seem to be pretty well managing that. Even though it is the softer of the hard tyres, it is the C4, so it's the softest you could possibly get, and you've got to run with the C4, C5, and C6 through this round and the next round, which is Spain, and then Canada after that. So Spain, then Canada, which is big rounds, and that is the Williams pulling off to the left-hand side. There's a problem there. Oh no, there isn't. Carlos Sainz just let him by. Alex Albon has just let Carlos Sainz by. So he's now up into P9 there, Carlos Sainz. I thought that was a problem. Here is Oscar. Big moment for Oscar Piastri, and nearly put it in the fence at turn 1. So as he exited turn 1, he had a big oversteer moment. This is Kimi Antonelli. Oh, no. So that was that off moment that I saw that I thought was Stroll. But it wasn't. It was Kimi Antonelli. So that's the evidence that those tyres are starting to hurt just a little bit. And they're the only runners that have gone this far on the hard compound tyres. They have to be planning on boxing soon, because remember, it's two compulsory stop race. If they don't do that, then there's a slap on the wrist by race control and the FIA for not taking those 2 mandatory pit stops. Now that time loss, the oversteer moment for Oscar Piastri, cost him 2/10. At 0.29 he lost through turn 1. And of course that's powered by AWS here. Margin 6 seconds between Nice and Leclerc, lap 45. There is 33 laps to go in this race. 35 laps to go in this race. So still quite a while. And we've completed 45. Lawson?
You'll see now the next 5 laps. Carlos with a pit stop gap to the first stop, and then we'll get the seconds on stop done with Carlos after that.
You say it's not how you like to go racing, James. Is it forward next year here at Monaco as well?
I don't think.
Lando Norris still can't leading this race. There you go. That's Liam Lawson there, speaking to his engineer. I didn't actually get to catch that because Sky Sports were doing an interview, so I didn't actually get to catch that message there. But Alex Albon and George Russell closing up on each other here. Now that margin is closed as they hit the hairpin. Albon doesn't seem to have that much pace here, so Merck might be able to make a move, and Kimi's just been sitting in behind for, well, actually all this race here. as Max Verstappen on the top left-hand side is currently sitting in P4, and he's just running his own race at this point. He's trying to catch up to Piastri. He seems to be, he's doing so by about 0.1. He gained 0.1 and then he lost it once again. So it's tit for tat for that margin between those two, but still got plenty of time in this race to make moves. Hulkenberg into the pit lane. At the moment he's dropping. Here we'll see what that pit stop is like, and he's hoping to get an undercut from people that he's racing, and on to brand new soft compound tyres for Nico Hulkenberg. That was really unexpected from the Kick Sauber. But onto new soft tyres. That's going to be extremely grippy for the next 5-10 laps, and then you'll start to feel a real drop off in pace. So Haas have used all their tyres, I think, by the way that they've just gone on to the soft tyres. Seems as if they've used the rest of them. So that's a bit of a problem. Lando Norris, he's catching up to the back of what looks to be Bortoleto, but for McLaren, they'll be thinking about pit stops very soon, and of course that average time loss in the pit lane is 20 seconds, that time loss. So at this point, it'll be jump. If you box now, it'll be out behind Verstappen, and that margin 17 seconds. So it'll be out behind Verstappen by 2 seconds, but they're hoping to be running long on those hard tyres, probably until about lap 60, and then probably might not be on to the medium tyres for the rest of the race. I know McLaren definitely do have a new set of mediums sitting somewhere in the garage, because I don't think they used mediums in qualifying. So they definitely do have a shiny set of mediums waiting somewhere in the garage, and probably they have a used set of softs, but yeah, apart from that, there's definitely some lap time to be found for Lando Norris, because there was a point through this stint where he was just losing a bit of time to Leclerc. He seems to have gained it back, but now there's this train from Albon to Bortoleto. It's a 7-car train, and they're all DRS training, and there's only one DRS zone. One. And leaders in behind that, so that's quite crazy. It's actually a 5-car train. Sorry, it is a 7-car train. So here I was thinking it was only a 5-car train, but I'm proved wrong. Russell?
That's right. It's slow. It's all areas.
He will be Alex Albon.
Indeed, he will be Alex Albon. He's saying that he's dangerously slow, and by the lap times, he's nearly 3 seconds faster a lap. He's going nearly 3 seconds a lap faster. Piastri being told to box this lap. He's done 27 laps on those hards. He's off the hards and on to another set of hards for the McLaren team, and that will be to the end. That's 31 laps on hard tyres there for Oscar Piastri, and that will be to the end for Oscar, to the end of this race. It's about 23 seconds to transfer the pit lane. Verstappen.
Let's go.
So
Verstappen being told, let's go. On the radio, push now, because there's going to be a point where you're going to have to box. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit spicy for the lead there, as that is what looked to be Russell looking around the outside on Alex Albon. It got dangerously close as well, but we're riding on board with the front wing.
It was a good stop by McLaren. However, we now have a safety car window over them, so let's go.
Verstappen being told there over the radio, we now have the safety car window open. So this is important. Leclerc is in for his stop. This is important here. This is important for Ferrari. Off and on to a new set of medium tyres. Good stop. Off the hards, onto the mediums. And this will... I'm guessing there's going to have to be another stop here for Leclerc. Now, those tyres will be hurting at the end of the race. because there's still 28 laps to go. We've only done 50 of the 78 laps. So still 28 laps to go. And still another 50 minutes of, still another 45 minutes of racing in this race.
Lewis Hamilton.
100% pace for Lando Norris over the radio there. So being told 100% pace for the... because you need to stop that undercut from happening. As that, it looks to be a slow Mercedes. He's just cut the circuit down there. It's going to be a bit of a problem because what I saw was... And there you go, McLaren are in. Now, what I saw from that was that Merc car just cut the corner and has just re-overtaken Albon, so that's a problem. Nice in onto the hard compound tyres. And as well as Red Bull. So is that Verstappen? I'm going to guess that's Verstappen. And he's going onto the soft tyres. He's going to have to make another stop, Red Bull. They're going to have to make another stop. Nice in and out, but hasn't been hurt by the undercut. So that's important. That 100% pace push from Norris has kept him in the lead by about the same margin. Russell entered at turn 10, leading the track and gaining an advantage. Noted. So it's noted there for Lando. For that incident, not noted for Lando. It's noted for Russell for cutting the corner and getting an advantage down there at turn 10. So that's been noted. Albon over the radio.
See the first thing penalty. I think he pitched not one because his was
Albon over the radio saying maybe a 5-second penalty and intentional corner cutting shouldn't be allowed, and it won't be allowed by the FIA because I don't think there's not going to be. If Russell gives that back, he was complaining over the radio that Albon was braking at before every corner by 100 meters or so. So dangerously braking, which is not good. 26 laps to go here in this race. 5.7 the margin between Verstappen and Norris. Now Norris, of course, is on the hard tyres. Red Bull, I think, we're setting up for Yuki Tsunoda, and this is lap 49. So Russell was about to actually slam in the wall there. Did he give that position? I don't even know.
When he put it in Albon, his hand on the brakes. So we need to give that position back.
So Russell over the radio saying he slammed on the brakes before he hit the corner, and he's saying the engineers just told him to give the position back. He's going to have to at some point. So that's why he cut the corner there from Merc. So he's braking quite dangerously there for Alex Albon. And now Kimi Antonelli has to deal with him. But it seems as if Albon is I don't know. He seems to be backing up a little bit. Albon seems to be backing up the field just a little bit here to give Carlos a bit of room. So Williams are playing a strategy that is, to be honest, actually sort of working to keep Sainz in the points and to sacrifice Albon, but it's worked. Verstappen, our new race leader, lap 53 of 78. Quite a while to go. 15 laps to go in this race. Sorry, 20 laps to go in this race, not 15. As Kimi Antonelli looked around the outside, he's up here on Carlos Sainz, and drive-through penalty for George Russell leaving the track and gaining an advantage to the FIA. Not happy with that. And it's a drive-through for George Russell. But now Kimi Antonelli is easing up onto the back of Alex Albon, and Kimi had to go wide, and that is big. If he doesn't give that position back, if he doesn't hand it back, there's going to be a problem for Kimi Antonelli, and they're going to have problems down there at the FIA. Yeah, there's definitely going to be problems here between the Merc, and he gives it back. Smart play from young Kimi Antonelli. Now, what's the play for the Merc? I don't think they've done their one compulsory pit stop. I'm guessing they have. I'm going to guess they haven't. They haven't done their one compulsory pit stop. One of two. There's there's going to be a problem here. There's definitely going to be a problem between Merck, and they're leaving this really late. And that's why. So he actually got up on the ripple strip. He lost control of the car and went straight on. So that's the reason why we saw Kimi Antonelli get an advantage. Max Verstappen also gained a bit of an advantage on the car behind, and he's actually going to be hurt by that. There, so that's Yuki Tsunoda letting by our leader. The only two people that haven't stopped, Russell and Antonelli, they're playing this really long. Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz, Tsunoda, Stroll have stopped once. 2 stops for Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Hadjar. Oh god, oh, when it's side by side between Leclerc and Stroll. Oh no, sorry. That is what seems to be Leclerc overtaking a lapped car. That was really risky. He got out in the dirt, but he was able to successfully get the move done on a lapped car for Leclerc. Russell over the radio.
Drive through penalty, but we'll delay it as long as we can. To be honest,
Yeah, but he has to take it because otherwise he'll get a grid penalty for Spain, won't he?
Yeah.
So that's, he sort of has to take this here for Merck, but of course they haven't done their pit stops. This has actually put Mercedes in a bit of a tricky spot here with, what, for like 19, 18 laps to go in this race. So it's put them in a tricky spot. But Verstappen is closed up. He's been closed here to Norris. It's 2.6, and it's 2.6 from Norris to Leclerc. So it's closing. And Norris is being hurt by traffic as well. So there's a bit of a nail biter. It's about to happen for the lead.
Seconds.
And Russell has been told to box for the penalty. So the drive-through penalty, and then they're going to have to box 2 more times, which will put them a bit further back down the order. And Carlos in. Russell in. Carlos is also in as well. He's off the mediums and onto another set of mediums for Carlos. And Russell serving the drive-through. So they will be hurt. They've actually gone now, what seems to be 1 or 2 laps down. Gets back down to 1 lap. So back down to 1 lap down for Russell. Comes back out of the pits and just been overtaken by the Ferrari. So when the 2 Mercs get onto fresh rubber, it will feel absolutely amazing. And they will have the freshest rubber out of anyone at this point in the race. And they'll be able to make moves here. But Russell still has to take 2 other pit stops in this race. So they're going to probably finish, I reckon, where they are if they get the fresh grip on about now, to be honest. If they finish where they are. Norris over here.
It's really good. Obviously, Verstappen will just try and hang it out for PSG or worse.
Yeah, look, a red flag now. Max Verstappen.
So here, red flag now for Max Verstappen would be absolutely perfect, or even a safety car. And that would change this race forever. It might even give Verstappen the race win if there's a safety car, or it's a nail biter to the end. So they're hoping and praying down there at Red Bull that there is a safety car at some point through this race, or a VSC, which would help them even more. But there hasn't been a VSC for a few laps, and when I mean by a few, I mean 53 laps, 51 laps since there was a VSC. Hamilton into the box. And off the hards and onto the medium tyres for Lewis Hamilton. And that will go to the end of the race with 21 laps to go. I've got maths all wrong with the laps. There's 21 laps to go in this race. I've got it all wrong this whole race. 21 laps to go now. So Lewis Hamilton there, out onto the medium tyres, and that is his second compulsory stop done. But Lewis Hamilton, they're done with their pit stop. Russell has not taken his, well, he's been in the box once, but that doesn't count for tyre changes. Russell 0, Antonelli 0, so they still have to take their stops. People that still have to take 2 stops: Tsunoda, Stroll, Verstappen, and Russell and Antonelli still need to take their stops as well. 20 laps to go around Monaco. It's headed up to the Sky Sports commentators.
Leclerc just 2.8 seconds behind Norris now. When he came out, he was 4.6. So Leclerc's really caught Norris, who's catching Verstappen. Verstappen can back Norris right into Charles Leclerc here.
So here's another little variable. There goes Max Verstappen, there goes Lando Norris, and there goes Charles Leclerc. Is it in Max Verstappen's interest here to create a little bit of jeopardy into Lando Norris's mind and allow that Ferrari to get a bit closer? Will we yet see a little bit of overtaking here in Monaco? We've had 2 incidents where drivers have retired. Fernando Alonso out because of a power unit issue, and Pierre Gasly running into the back of Yuki Tsunoda. If you're just joining us, the Yuki Tsunoda incidents with Pierre Gasly happened right at the start of the race. We'll hear from the driver in a minute. Martin, you want to say something?
Yeah, this is risky territory for Norris and McLaren. Verstappen ahead of them will be very reluctant to be passed because he wants to keep track position. And he will be very happy to back Norris into Leclerc and see if they can't trip over each other.
So let's show you that incident with Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda to remind you what happened a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you at this stage of the race. Just tell us exactly what happened.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect Yuki to move at the braking there, so yeah, okay. I made a small mistake before the tunnel. I was pretty close from him. He was braking very early. He started to brake on the left, went to the right, and then moved back to the right, and I was cornered.
Was it slightly misinterpreted over team radio that you had a brake issue, but you didn't?
No, the brake. Once we had the contact, I just snapped the brake, so it was after the contact. I told them I lost the brakes following the contact, but probably on the broadcast, the timing just made it look like I lost the brakes, but it wasn't the case.
Very sorry today.
So that's Pierre Gasly's point of view there, and it's an interesting point of view. And he told him before he told him that he had no brakes, and then he practically ended up running in. So it was a brake failure for the Alpine of Pierre Gasly, and Yuki Tsunoda still runs in this race as the top 3 run through turn 4. It's going to be a bit of a battle, and Verstappen in his interest to hold Norris up, maybe. Definitely. That is most likely what will happen in this race. 31 laps Verstappen has been on those medium tyres for. He will start to be hurting on those medium tyres, and it's in his best interest to possibly box within the next 10 or so laps onto the soft rubber in this race. Now, I did see those tyres being set out at some point throughout this race. Now, the other person that is saying that hasn't boxed is Yuki Tsunoda. He's on the hard tyres, and he's been on them for 56 laps. So those are actually older hard tyres that he's been on. So that's the reason why I'm seeing that. So Yuki Tsunoda has boxed those 2 laps. So he's going to the end on those hards, I'm guessing. Maybe, might not. Never know. But here we go. Verstappen has pulled away 1.3 seconds. Now, he's caught Lando by surprise on lap 61 here. And he's now put Norris under a bit of pressure by Leclerc. So Verstappen playing a few games here with this margin, with the margin that he's got for the next possible 5 or 6 laps before he boxes, or even 9 laps, if he's going onto the soft tyres, which might be a play for Max Verstappen and Red Bull, because they'll have a bit extra grip for about 5 or 6 laps, and they can try and use that to try and overtake as many cars as possible. Because he's already being hurt here. He already is going to get hurt here, and probably drop to P4 or 5 in this race, or maybe even P6. So this is not Red Bull's race. Remember, he's only taken 1 stop, Max Verstappen, so he's still got 1 stop to go here. And he's currently heading through the chicane and through the final corner. So, yeah, Nice is being held up. Well, he's being held back by Leclerc because he's being under pressure at the moment. And Verstappen actually just pulled away last lap. So that's the reason why that margin is the way it is. See, they're on the totem and he's saying Verstappen's still got one stop to go. So does Russell and Antonelli. This is most like towards the end of the race, they will swap the cars back.
There, for Carlos Sainz.
So yeah, so Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon will swap. They'll swap those positions back and see what pace both those drivers have. But yeah, Russell and Antonelli, they're P10 and P12 and they still haven't boxed. It is still beyond me how they still haven't boxed in this race. I am so utterly confused. It still confuses me how they haven't boxed when they did. But yeah, that's really strange. $15 laps to go in this race, and Max Verstappen still needing to box, and so does Russell and Antonelli. It's smart if they were to box within the next. You'd think they'd box within the next couple laps. Surely, because you wouldn't be able to get. Yeah, I don't know. Unless you're planning on doing one stop after another, and you won't lose as much time. I don't know, but it's interesting because they'll drop quite far back. You'd think they drop quite far back. Probably bring. I don't know. It's risky, but they still seem to both have good pace at this point in the race. So it's strange as to what you do. Very much strange. The margin 1.8 seconds for Verstappen to Norris. There's still a long way to go. 15 laps. As that is Siska Norris, the Norris's mother, watching on, knowing how quite possibly important this race is. 2.1 seconds for Verstappen pulling away, possibly planning on boxing at some point in this race. I don't think there's no need for Norris to worry at this point in the race now, because Verstappen still needs to box. And there's no way Verstappen still ends up in the lead. Now, of course, you can vote Driver of the Day. It closes in 13 laps. It's f1.com/vote. So, if you're looking to vote on the Driver of the Day, it closes in 13 laps. So, it's on lap 77 that vote closes. Still 14 laps to go in this race. 1.6 seconds. The margin for Verstappen may be thinking about boxing at some point in this race. 1 second. Well, you have to. It's 2 compulsory pit stops required. And Russell and Antonelli still need to box for their 2 pit stops. They still haven't boxed in this race. Margin 0.6 between Norris and Leclerc, just eagerly keeping an eye on this gap here. As Russell has now been told to box. Mercedes are coming in this lap, and they will only drop about a position or 2. So finally, 64 laps into this race, they're going to box for the 2 Mercs at some point. Antonelli, maybe the next lap, and then Russell lap after, then Antonelli again. So they've got 2 stops to do. Russell in, and they finally get to go down for those junk car tyres that are no longer any good to them. Off and back on. Fresh, medium tyres, and they still have to do 1 last stop. And you'd think they'd run probably another, I'm going to say, 7 laps, 8, 9, 10 laps on those tyres, come back in and get on a brand new set of mediums, or maybe in a soft, if anything. So it's probably the way you play it at this point. And then maybe bring Antonelli in. Leclerc saying, yeah, Norris is slow over the radio. And that's quite obvious, being the fact that Leclerc is able to keep on with him and Norris struggling through the pace. So he might have a race victory on our hands for Leclerc. He's in a good position. He's actually in a really good position to win this race. Now that Leclerc thinks Norris is slow. He's vulnerable. 12 laps to go. Lap 66 of 88. Lap 66 of 78. And Piastri also closing in a little bit on Leclerc. Margin 2.6. So Oscar still... Oscar has a plan. It's very much. He has a decision to make. With 12 laps to go. 2.8 the margin. And it's been like that for a little bit now. But what Piastri will be hoping for is a safety car. Verstappen, safety car. And it's not for Piastri to... There you go. Science saying swap positions with Alex, the engineer there. So, Piastri hoping for a safety car. Not the fact that he wants to box. Hoping that he can close that margin to Leclerc. Verstappen hoping for a safety car because he needs to get off those medium tyres at some point in this race. And the whole backing up the field situation has just sort of gone out the window because it's 2.4 that margin, and Norris doesn't seem to have enough pace to keep with him. By the way, Leclerc is reacting to the fact that Norris doesn't have pace. So, there you go, swapping positions between Albon and Carlos Sainz. And it's 43 seconds to to Lawson. So, there will be points for both Williams cars, maybe. Because it's 17 seconds back and there's still a few cars that need to box in this race. But with the tyres that Russell is on at the moment, he's gaining, and he's gaining quite rapidly on the Williams cars by nearly half a second a lap. And it's 15.7. So I'm going to keep an eye on that battle. He's closing rapidly. Currently the vote between for the driver of the day is Isaac Hadger's up there, 12%, Norris 14%, Leclerc 15%. Of course, you can vote F1/vote.com. F1/vote.com. Oscar Piastri getting real close to the wall on the left-hand side. Turn 14 and 15 at the swimming pool. Real close indeed. As close as you can get it. 11 laps to go. It's a fight for the provisional race win. It's 11 laps to go. It's 0.4 the margin between Norris and Leclerc. It's half a second. Can Leclerc win his home race 2 years in a row? There is 10 laps to go, and both Leclerc and Norris have done their 2 compulsory pit stops, and they're in to win this race. Either one of them. Norris has to defend like his life depends on it, which it does. His life does depend on it. Not physically, but mentally. And for Leclerc, it's for a home race win. His life depends on it. His physical mentality depends on it. Here for Leclerc, and there's 10 laps to go, and he's got 10 laps to decide whether or not he wins this race by overtaking Norris. The margin is closing between Verstappen and Norris. It's 1.2, and it's not because Norris is pushing. Or it might be. I don't know. Or Verstappen is purposely holding them up here to... I don't know what their plan is here. But Piastri may be wanting to get an undercut. Well, he already does have an undercut at this point. He will be... Verstappen will be P5 at this point. He will be P5. It's 23.9 meters separating Piastri and Leclerc. That's all that closes them. It's 5 meters between the two. There's meters between them, and it's 0.5 in margin. It's lap 69. 9 laps to go in the Monaco Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen still has to box at some point, hoping for a safety car. They're leaving every last little second of this race down to it. 9 laps to go. Time is ticking away for Leclerc. Norris seems to just have enough pace. My left-hand side tyres are dead for Max Verstappen, and I don't think he can do much more about it. You can see the graining on the left-hand side of those tyres. It's lap 40. He's been on those tyres for 37 laps for Max Verstappen. Nice. 18 laps on those hard tyres. They're fresh. And it could be the fact that Verstappen gets hurt at some point in this race. He might be able to take it by Lando Norris, and it might become a nail-biter in this race. It already is a nail-biter. We've been set up with one. Set up with 2 compulsory pit stops for a nail-biting race. Leclerc's tyres will be starting to fall off, inch by inch. Minute by minute, those tyres will be falling off, little by little. 8 laps to go this time around. Lap 70 of 78. It's the dying moments of this race, and we've got 26 minutes of time certain remaining, and there's about 13 minutes of this race remaining for Norris to his provisional race leader. Verstappen is our race leader, but still has to box in this race. He's got 8 laps to do so, and he can box whenever he wants. He's leaving every little minute of this race. Nice over the radio. Where is Oscar? Need him to put Charles under some pressure. So Nice can't do much more about this except try and pull away. But there's a Red Bull in front of him that's sort of just blocking his path. He needs Piastri to help very much. But does he have the pace? George Russell on those medium tyres, by the way. 1:13.4. He's flying out there. He's done a 73-second lap time. Fastest lap of the race. Nice over the radio. Max is just backing me up. He's not even pushing. So that's Red Bull's plan. He's just backing him up. And hoping that Leclerc overtakes him. Whose side? What side is Verstappen on at this point? Russell being told to box on this lap. Antonelli still has to box, by the way. He's on the hard tyres. Should have brought Antonelli in. You probably should have. There's no point in leaving him out there. You should have boxed. It's going to be for Antonelli. He's going to survive 1 lap on a set of tyres, unless they're planning on putting him on softs. Russell in. It might be soft compound tyres for Russell. Is it? It's the hard tyres. Brand new set of hards for 7 laps for George Russell. And for Antonelli, it might be 1 lap on softs and then 1 lap on mediums. 1 lap on softs and then 6 laps on hards. 5 laps on hards. So, you never know. But there's that margin there. And Antonelli's actually been hurt by this very badly. Now, what they're going to want to do here is you want to put Antonelli out in front, if anything. Probably want to put Antonelli out in front. Piastri over the radio. Let's stay close to this fight in front. There could be opportunities here. So they're wanting Piastri to push like heaven like hell to put Leclerc under pressure. And guess what? He's closed. He is closing. He's definitely closing, and he has closed. He's just pulled nearly 1 second on that lap. Nice is sliding the rear end just little by little. There, that margin is dropping. 15.6 plays a 16.1, plays a 16.0, plays a 16.3 on lap 71 on that last lap. And Piastri was nearly 7 tenths quicker than him on that last lap. It's closing, and the margin is now inside a second. Piastri has pushed like hell to close up, and now he has to put some pressure on. And Norris can finally think about his own race once that pressure is on Leclerc. 1.3 that margin, and they're hoping for a safety car down there at Red Bull. If they get a safety car, this race is saved. Antonelli in, but he's going to drop to the very back of the field. And that, remember, they still have to go at the stop. So Russell is done for the race. It's going to be maybe 1 lap on hards. They've bottled the strategy for Merc. They really have. They've bottled the strategy for Mercedes. For Antonelli, they've just sort of screwed their strategy up here. They're down in P18, and they still got to do another stop. 5 laps to go for the Monaco Grand Prix, and it's Leclerc and Norris. This is the battle for the race lead. Leclerc is now putting a little bit more pressure now on this lap. It's 0.5, half a second. It's about 50 metres separating the 2 cars, and it's now a 3-way battle for the lead. Verstappen he's holding him up. He's in the wrong position at the wrong time here. 5 laps to go. They're opening for any opportunity of a safety car. Late race safety car can happen at any point. At any point in this race can a late race safety car happen. And that's what they're hoping for. Down there at Red Bull. Everybody has done their 2 compulsory pit stops except Yuki Tsunoda by our numbers here, and Antonelli and Verstappen. So 3 people have not done their compulsory pit stops according to the numbers. 5 laps to go. Norris plays Leclerc, plays Piastri. This is the battle for the race win of Monaco. And there's going to be some celebrations if, keyword if, Norris wins this race. If Leclerc wins it, there's going to be even bigger celebrations. The fans cannot blink, they cannot breathe, the Ferrari fans. Because they know what this means. There's 4 laps to go. Verstappen still has to box in this race. But can Leclerc put enough pressure? He's been putting pressure on, but he hasn't been able to pass Leclerc on the radio.
Many mistakes at the moment.
Had no confidence that Ferrari was.
He's not doing many mistakes, saying Leclerc. The number 16 Ferrari and the number 4 of Norris is not making many mistakes. And Verstappen, he's not making many of them himself. He's getting as close as he can to every apex wall. He's using every bit of curb and flying the car up on 2 wheels whilst doing so. 4 laps to go in the Monaco Grand Prix. Every TV screen has been glued to. 4 laps to go, and the vote closes in 3 laps. Antonelli in for his stop and on to maybe the soft tyres. He's on to the hards. There you go. So on to new hards for Kimi Antonelli. They've sort of ruined their strategy a little bit here, but you live. Russell, P11. Antonelli, P18. So not looking good. 3 laps to go in this race. This is a big moment for Norris at the moment. If the race finished now, he would win. He would win. 3 laps to go. Verstappen still has to box at some point through this race. I don't think there's going to be a safety car. There doesn't seem to be a safety car. You heard Verstappen say a little while ago that his left front tyre was dead. I think that was on lap 68, so about 7 laps ago he said that. His left front tyre is dead and he's not making many mistakes. He's Lando Norris, Seagull. He's trying to put him under as much pressure as possible. And Leclerc will notice Piastri in his mirrors. He will see every part of that orange papaya McLaren in his mirrors. Now, there's plenty of gap for Verstappen. He's got Hamilton down pat here. But he's just got to choose when to box. Yeah, it's the moment. It's when you choose to box.
Good to see that you're actually saying hello to him. I've been home for an hour.
So, nice. Fans, they are clenching their fists here for what could be a possible Monaco race win. A second is the margin. And the 2 papaya McLarens are sandwiching Charles Leclerc at this point in the race. Hamilton over the radio.
Still maybe a bit ahead.
Good chance, son.
They're saying, are they still a minute ahead? And they certainly are. Verstappen will be in this lap. He is in. So that's the note up.
Yes. Marcus asking if by a minute behind or?
He's 48 seconds.
That's the answer.
44 seconds, that margin, to Piastri. So he's actually losing a little bit of time there, Hamilton. But so Tsunoda's just come in. So those numbers were right. He'd only actually done 1 stop. And Antonelli 35 seconds behind. So he might finish P17 here, Kimi Antonelli, but probably not the right strategy to play, running so long on those hards and then only running a few laps on mediums. So, I don't know. Was it the right strategy? Maybe, maybe not. Patrick Dempsey, the actor, ready to wave the checkered flag. There is 2 laps to go. Verstappen still has to box. And I reckon it'll be a final lap box for Verstappen. Most likely will be a final lap box for Verstappen. It will be... He's wasting every little minute. George Russell, fastest lap of the race, 1:13.405. Fastest lap. Verstappen, now this lap being told to box. There is not going to be a safety car, and if there is, then, well, it's unlucky. But there's no chance of that happening. Verstappen in the box, and Lando Norris will start the final lap of the Monaco Grand Prix on this lap. And onto the soft tyres for Max Verstappen. Good strategy there. Now, where he lands out is the most important question. Nice starts the final lap of the Monaco Grand Prix, lap 78 of 78. Nice, the new race leader. Verstappen out, and in P4, Lando Norris has 1.2 seconds. He can now finally push, show that pace of that Papaya McLaren. In the end, doesn't seem like Leclerc had the pace. He's finally got some free air. He's pushing, and he's pushing every last minute of it. I think Norris has this, Pat. He's had 5 career wins, and he's about to have a Monaco win added to his name. Through the chicane for the final time. To back. And into the swimming pool section. Fastest first sector of the race for Lando Norris. Can he get the final lap of it? Can he get the fastest lap of the race on the final lap? Can he do it? Verstappen on the soft tyres, he will not be able to get that fastest lap. He's in P4, he will finish off the podium, and Lando Norris wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Lando Norris wins over Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris wins. What a time for Papaya McLaren. And they win the Monaco Grand Prix for 2025.
Check the flag, but they are a lap down. As is Kimi Antonelli, 2 laps down. Lewis Hamilton will come home behind Max Verstappen to finish 5th.
And Norris, just to prove his point, did the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the final tour, 1:13.221. And he had it all covered, didn't he? He just didn't want to get too close to what would be the hind legs of a donkey if he got too close to the back of Max's car. And that seals the perfect weekend for Lando Norris.
We talked about strategy, we talked about, how things could be thrown up and mixed up, and that didn't happen, and Lando and McLaren.
There you go. P1 at Monaco, baby. Monaco, baby! Yeah, baby!
Such a gentle buzz about that one.
Well done. We won in Monaco. That's a treat. Well done, guys. Unbelievable job. Amazing weekend. Thank you so much.
What McLaren did with Lando Norris is that they just drove a normal race, and a normal race that panned out very nice because they had the pace to do it.
Yeah, they built the gaps when they needed to and got out front. And very calmly, yesterday, McLaren waded their way through what was chaos in many respects. And what they were able to do is keep themselves clear of sort of 5th through to 15th of what might be going on there that could get in their way if somebody ended up ahead of them on the road on a set of half tyres or something. So they controlled it with pace.
Peter, good job, boy. I guess not much more we could have done today. It's a shame, but we tried everything.
We have the celebrations to come, and I can see the Norris family skipping their way towards the podium at the moment and running down the pit lane, and Zach Brown is raising his arms to the crowd. If you're watching on Sky Sports main event, we'll be crossing to the final weekend of the Premier League season in about 3 minutes' time. Nottingham Forest against Chelsea, the shootout for the Champions League. We'll stay with all the reaction here on Sky Sports to F1 to Lando Norris and McLaren winning here in Monaco today.
Yeah, lovely feeling, cruising down the pit straight there, parking outside the Royal Grandstand. One Monegasque there on the podium, and 2 more who live in Monaco will be going up there and places in a space they know incredibly well. And these are such clumsy things to get out of now, with all the bits and pieces. You can see the radio, you can see the drinks straw there, and the umbilical cord that goes into the driver where they were being measured. They've been measured in their gloves, in their earpieces. If there's any high G-force going on, there's lots of stuff going on around the driver as well. Knee pads there to stop your knees knocking together over the curbs and the bumps, and all that doesn't matter anymore. Lando Norris has won the Monaco Grand Prix.
Is he going to dive? I won't go into the sea of smiling faces. Of course, he's going to try and get close there. The marshals holding everybody back.
Looks like the most dangerous thing he's done today, actually. Stunning on that.
Oscar Piastri, his teammate, comes over to say well done, extending his run of podium finishes to 7 in a row. Lando Norris, the first McLaren driver to win in Monaco since Lewis Hamilton did it in 2008. He finished, what, second, Lando Norris, in 4 of the last 6 Grand Prix. And if you're going to, well, if you're going to stop finishing second, this isn't a bad place to do that. There'll be some celebrations, I'm sure, between those two tonight.
A mighty point score for Team McLaren as well, isn't it? Yet again, they're now 319 to 147 with Mercedes in second place, who didn't score a point today. Ironically, Russell, without that drive-through, would have got a World Championship point, excepting it had been stuck behind the Williams for quite a bit longer.
Absolutely. So the podium a little bit different here. You go up to meet the royal family, but time for his dad first. And that's a super special moment for father and son on the grid at Monaco after Lando Norris became the first, the latest winner here in Monte Carlo. On Sky Sports main event, it's time to switch over to Chelsea against Nottingham Forest. The F1 reaction continues on Sky Sports F1. And there'll be a lot of talking, Martin, and a lot of talking about whether the experiment worked or not, and I think it didn't.
It was too chaotic, wasn't it? The focus was on pitting, not on racing, if I can sum it up like that.
Correct. Jenson Button knows what it's like to win in Monaco. He's got the mic in his hands.
You came to Monaco, obviously, for the win. You got away with the podium. You must be pretty happy with that, though.
Yeah, obviously the win would have been better, but it's been a bit of a tricky weekend. Practice was messy all the way through, and I felt like I got into qualifying with not a lot of confidence with how the weekend was going, and I got close, but not quite close enough. And around here, where you qualify is pretty much where you're going to finish, so pretty happy with that overall. Obviously, some things to look out for when we come back next year, but some more points on the board, another trip to the podium in Monaco, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, well, in practice you obviously put it into the wall with Sandoval front end in. So to come back with a podium, such a good team effort, and for this to be a bad weekend for you and still be on the podium, I think you've got a lot to be happy with.
Yeah, exactly. The margins are so fine, and like you said, if this is a bad weekend, then it's not going too badly at all. So, yeah, some things to work on. We'll go again next week and try and come back stronger. But well done to Lando, he's had a great weekend. Well done to Charles as well. It's been quick as usual. So, yeah, happy and stay on the podium.
Congrats, and still our championship leader.
Thank you. Cheers.
Charles, your home Grand Prix, we stood here 1 year ago celebrating your win. Today, not quite the win, but considering how you felt the car was leading up to this race, reasonably happy?
Not really, but at the end of the day, I mean, we lost the race yesterday, and we should have done a better job. Lando did a better job this weekend, and he deserves the win. And on my side, yeah, I realized the childhood dream last year. Not this year, but considering everything, I think it's a lot above our expectations coming here. I did not expect. I thought that being in the top 10 would be a challenge. At the end, we are second, very close to P1. So it's been a good weekend overall. But yeah, I wish I won.
With all the traffic out there today, with the two-stop strategies, it must have put you on edge a little bit more than normal. And then the last few laps, you were able to really put Lando under that big pressure. It was great for us watching. How was it from inside the car?
Oh, it was good as well from inside the car, because before that it was a little bit boring. I had to leave a gap to Lando because otherwise I would overheat everything, so I couldn't be so close. Then when I saw Max was playing the long game, I guess he was waiting for a red flag. That helped me a little bit to put a bit more pressure on Lando, but wasn't enough.
Lastly, have you got a message for your supporters, the Monegasque crowd?
Yeah, as I always say, as a Ferrari driver, we are very lucky. We get support everywhere, but being born here and seeing all the Monegasque behind me is something very special. We are not many Monegasque, but yeah, it warms my heart very much to be at home and to have so much support. So yeah, I wish I had given them the first place, but yeah, hopefully next year.
Thanks, John.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Norris, you just won the Monaco Grand Prix. How good does that feel?
It feels amazing. It's a long race. It's a long, rolling race. But good fun. You know, we could push for quite a lot of the race. The last quarter was a little bit nervous with Charles close behind and Max ahead, but we won in Monaco, so it doesn't matter how you win, I guess. But yeah, an amazing weekend with Paul with today. This is what I dream of. This is what I did dream of when I was a kid. So I achieved one of my dreams. But I think it was you. I saw you in front of my car before the start, and I was like, if JB's here now, then
I'll always
it's
take
my
credit.
good luck charm.
And you also said Monaco Baby, which I thought I owned. But
Oh, was it
obviously not.
yours? I apologise.
But, you know, most people say that you win Monaco on the Saturday in qualifying. Such an exceptional job, but you still got to get it done on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Lovely start, and then the pressure you put under, and all of those cars you had to overtake during the race. It must have been quite tense.
It is. I mean, the worst bit really was just the end. You know, I felt quite under control the whole race. But Max was ahead, and Max was kind of backing it up a little bit. And I knew then that's when Charles had the opportunity. So I had to manage it quite a lot. I tried to back off of Max so I could push when I needed to and chill when I needed to. So I still had to manage. It was still a well-fought race. But I'm very happy. My team are very happy. And therefore, we're going to have a wonderful night.
We'll let you go and celebrate with your team and family. Thank you, Lando.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
And I'm sure it will be a wonderful night too for the winner of this year's Monaco Grand Prix and his team. Could be double celebrations, of course, because there's the Indy 500 to come. And Zach Brown was standing by maybe to go to Indianapolis and see the action there, but he said if we have a good qualifying, I'll stay in Monaco. I dare say he'll be able to Indy after this evening here in Monaco anyway. But Sky Sports F1 for all your coverage of the Indy 500. Sky Sports F1's YouTube channel for the build-up whilst we build down here in Monte Carlo. It's the streets that he now calls home, from Somerset to Monaco, where the champagne flows freely and is going to be sprayed wildly and madly in a few moments' time. Piastri, Leclerc, Norris in the cool-down room.
The drivers.
Mate, I thought you were in the wall hard at turn one. Yeah.
I got two. I was like, oh.
I saw smoke everywhere, like, oh my god, no. Oh no, God. Mate, you tried one past me twice, and you had that with yellow.
Oh,
I was so confused.
it was a.
But it was
it was a virtual safety car.
Yeah, it should have.
At least.
But then sometimes, did you get the VSC? Like sometimes the VSC pop up for no reason.
Out of, into,
Oh my God.
Into, between 7 and 8?
I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, who's that?
me.
Nah, you were pushing.
Yeah, Tom was like, okay, let's go, maximum concentration. Yep, nice.
Oh, that's luck.
So bad they're in the braking when you're following.
Yeah.
Also,
Mate, you were saving so much out of turn
I
10.
had to because Max was so slow in the sector. Anytime I got
But in
close.
the S's, I was flat and you were like.
yeah, when I got to the back of you, 312, the first lap was like, I was doing everything behind you in the dead end.
Yeah. How was the half and the second stint for you?
was fine. I mean, I didn't push one up on the final lap. I didn't think it was amazing, to be honest. Like once I put, because the first.
That's the thing as well. Didn't push one lap on the harder part for the final lap because it's time management once again.
I could listen to half an hour of that.
Correct.
I would love to hear so much more. And it always impresses me and amazes me how much they know about each other's race and other things that happened.
And happy to sit and have that chat as well and have the whole world listening in to it. Instant debrief in the cool-down room, special caps for the drivers in Monaco. There's Zach Brown waiting to go up onto the podium with his two drivers here. I think they're being told at the moment, with the champagne, just wait until the royal family just move away. Not quite sure what the penalty is for spraying Prince Albert with champagne here in Monaco.
You've got to get out of Monaco, haven't you? And they live here, so probably find their water switched off or something.
The royal family and the presentation party await our three drivers. As I said, Max Verstappen finishing fourth in the end. He's missed the podium for the fourth time now in the last 7 Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton finishing fifth. And Isaac Hadjar, a career best finish for him at 6, which is superb. Haskett, their best ever result here in 7th. Lawson with his career best finish. Albon and Sainz picking up more points for Williams, who scored points for both cars here for the first time in 20 years. Big round of applause for Charles Leclerc, the Monegasque driver, to join Oscar Piastri on the podium. And here he is, Lando Norris, his 6th career win, his first since Australia, and his first here in the Principality of Monaco. He will not stop winning all night, I'm sure.
Prince Albert is a lovely man, and actually he's more likely to spray the champagne all over the driveway.
Well, that should be allowed. I'd quite like to see the Serene Highness join it. What a trophy. That will look splendid to join the 15 other winners' trophies for the Monaco Grand Prix in the cabinets down in Woking, where the staff of McLaren file past on their way to various parts, including the canteen. They get to see the trophies that the team have won every single day. And his girlfriend watching on, his partner as well, and with his mum and dad. Princess Charlie with the runners-up trophy for Charles Leclerc. Ferrari's 58th Monaco Grand Prix podium finish. And only Charles' 2nd podium finish here in any category as well. Last year, of course, was his first. That's a bad luck here over the years.
We've got a great grid full of drivers, haven't we, in Formula 1 at the moment? We really have.
And Oscar Piastri extending his point scoring to 34 races in a row, which is the 3rd longest streak in Formula 1 history, point scoring weekends.
And I'm sure you said it a little bit earlier on, just 3 points ahead of Norris now, Piastri, in the World Championship.
Yeah, the gap has tightened up going into Spain. And there's a Constructors' Trophy to be handed out, the 16th win in Monaco for McLaren.
What a job Zach's done for McLaren, along with Andrea Stella. They're on a roll, aren't they? The flywheel's turning for McLaren again.
It certainly is. It's time for the anthem. Got to the king ringing out here on the streets of Monaco. After a race, well, they tried something to shuffle the pack. They tried an experiment which didn't quite work in terms of the entertainment that we were hoping for. Where McLaren had it all in the bag. Photos before the champagne. Moments that will be preserved and cherished, I'm sure, for a long, long time to come. Yeah, the experiment didn't quite work, but you've got to keep on trying. And Lando Norris, here at the sixth time of asking, trying to get a win, has come on in the bag finally. Zach Brown celebrates with his two drivers, 3 points separating Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in the championship. After Lando landed the win here at Monte Carlo.
Here's what we can come on to the experiment that didn't work a little bit later, but for the moment, let's just enjoy these images. If you're a McLaren fan, well done to Lando Norris. How he needed that. That is the shot in the arm that he required for his championship challenge, because he has closed the gap on his teammate to just 3 points. All the work done on Saturday. He took pole position, lost it for a moment to Charles Leclerc, and then regained it in Q3. And from there, he was able to control the race. Yes, there were 2 mandated pit stops.
So there we go. That is the Monaco Grand Prix, and Lando Norris has won it for the first time in his career. Lando Norris wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, I will be back next weekend when we head to Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. It'll be 56 laps around there, or something like that. I think it's 61 laps around the Spanish Grand Prix. So quite a huge chunk next weekend for the Spanish Grand Prix on Friday. I'll see you guys then. Bye bye.